Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Looper Norris here. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the videos. I really appreciate all the views, all the likes, the shares, man. Keep it going, of course. Plenty more content to come, plenty more music on the way. I got a new mixtape coming out very soon. I just dropped one recently, The Internet. That one's out on all platforms already. If you haven't heard that one already, go ahead and listen to that. The next project that I'll be releasing will be June 14th. That's coming up pretty soon, actually. I think in like a couple of weeks. 8-track mixtape. This one's called Slay Station. This is a official mixtape, June 14th. On all platforms, 12 o'clock in the morning, right on the dot. So get ready for that. We got a new episode of album reaction. Today we're gonna do Keef's new album, Almighty Soul, full-length album from Chicago native, almost like a Chicago drill rap legend, you can almost say. He was very famous right from the start. He was around like 15, 16 years old when all of those tracks that he was dropping back in those days, like I think Love Sosa, Hate Being Sober, that like era back in the day where Keef was just going crazy. No one knew who he was, but it's just this kid making all these videos with like Lil Reese and Lil Durk, showing a bunch of guns and all this. Like, it really made everyone kind of like shake their head and like be like, whoa, what the hell is this? Like, who is this kid like talking about all this gangster stuff and showing all this stuff on in the video? It's just like, it kind of like set a trend in a lot of ways. Not a lot of rappers were making their videos like that. I can probably say like Keef is one of the first to make that style of video, that style of song. Even his style in music too is very I was gonna say unique, not really unique anymore, because every rapper is trying to mimic that sound. But when he first came out with it, it was very him. You can almost look at him as a pioneer to that sound, because after he came up with that sound, now everyone else is basically trying to sound the exact same. So yeah, he's definitely a pioneer in those regards. I'm gonna break down his album, Almighty Soul, Part 2, give you guys my reaction, go through a few of the songs, give a summary, and then a conclusion with a rating, of course, to give you guys my opinion about the album. Just like all the other episodes, I listened to the album before making this video, then I'll give you guys a conclusion and a rating afterwards. So the first song I'm gonna play, this one's called Treat Myself. Alright, this one's 1, 2, 3. Never Fly Here. I'm like, ain't you ready? But she like, no, you ain't gotta pay me. This one's featuring Quavo. This will be the last one. This one's called Grape Trees, featuring Sexy Red. She had another nigga DM. She got niggas in her phone. I'm a wolf, so I walk around and growl at the moon. When you live with that bitch, she gon' get tired of you soon. Your mama should push her broke ass back inside of the womb. I ain't never getting married, nigga. What is the groove? Keef's Almighty Soul Part 2. I've been a pretty big fan ever since those Hate Being Sober, Love Sosa days, making all these videos with his boys. Guys like Lil Reese, Lil Durk, a bunch of other Chicago drill rappers that are like in the friendship circle that he basically surrounds himself with. I just remember back in those days where it was kind of like his come up. Nobody really knew who he was. He's just dropping like mad songs, man, like track after track. It was kind of like the mixtape days. He was starting a lot of trends, man. Just like I was saying earlier, there's a lot of styles that he started, and now a lot of other young new school rappers coming out of nowhere, sounding very similar to what Keef was doing like 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like he's a pioneer of that natural sound that he usually uses in his music, that natural flow that he likes to use. The lyrical content in his music is very similar, and it's always been very similar to what a lot of rappers use in their music. That part isn't new at all, but it's like the way he positions his bars in his flow and how he switches it up based off of the beat. Very, very unique and very distinctive. If you hear other rappers sound sort of the same, they're copying off of Chief Keef, especially since he blew up when he was like 16 years old, 10 years ago, way back in the day. That's another like good example, or that's another case of evidence to basically prove to you guys that he started a lot of styles that a lot of rappers are trying to mimic today. He started a lot of stuff, man. I don't know, it's really cool to see him drop another album this year. It kind of feels like he's been MIA for a long time. For what he represents, just being a pioneer in the hip-hop game, it's really cool to see him drop another project, another album. There's something about this drop that caught a lot of attention. I wouldn't say it's like a comeback album, because he could have been working behind the scenes the entire time, and what he's done 10 years ago, maybe like 5 years ago, was such a big time thing that he's been living off of the success and the money that he's generated from those projects back in the days. Doesn't really have a reason to put out any music up until now, I guess. This album, man, like I like it, but I have a few things that I don't like about it, you know, like I'm kind of 50-50 with it. There's a lot of things I like about it, and there's a lot of things I don't like about it. I think he was far better when he was younger, when it came to like just making songs in general. Like his voice sounds a little different. I don't know if it's because he got older, you know what I mean? Like your voice kind of changes after a while, but like the way he's rapping now, or at least on this album, there's something like different sounding about it. His voice sounds a little more high pitched, like in a way. Maybe it's the microphone he's using, and the recording style overall maybe changed over time, and maybe that's why it sounds different. But yeah, his voice sounds a little different. That kind of threw me off a bit. The lyrics, his skill level, I mean, I feel like he was a little bit better when he was younger when it came to rapping, bro. Like, I don't know if it's me and it's like just the way I remember it, but I feel like he was way better at barring up when he was younger, back in like those I hate being sober days, you know? Like, I don't know, man. There's something very different with how he sounds in his music now. His bars now are just, he's dropping some stuff, but like, I don't know, man. Like, his bars are not as, they're not as hard as they used to be, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. Especially because he's the type of rapper that will usually just talk about the same stuff on every track, and he'll switch up the flow more so than the topic of what he's trying to talk about. Because he does that, it made it hard to listen to a lot of the lines. If you're gonna make every topic kind of the same, I don't know. It's just me, bro. Like, I feel like he got a little bit worse when it comes to writing. His pen game, he doesn't really talk about like serious stuff, which isn't like so bad, but like you'd think that he would grow a little bit in terms of like being an artist. That same style of rapping, it works with the kind of rapper he is, you know what I mean? In a sense, he doesn't really need to switch that up. Like, if it works for him, then it works. He makes his money, moves on. It doesn't work the same way for every rapper. Sometimes a rapper is at his best when he's just making every song the same. Chief Keef is one of those examples. For me, man, I mean, I look at everything, right? When it comes to like rapping, I usually like rappers that like can talk about a number of different things and not just the same thing every track. Because it's Chief Keef, it sort of works just because he's so good at doing that. It's not too much of like a negative point for that part. Like, I'm not complaining about that much. It's Chief Keef, you know, this guy's kind of like a legend, you know what I mean? He's a pioneer, he's a legend. He's been writing, making songs for a long time. You think that skill level will kind of grow a bit. He'd have the ability to like talk about like other things. There's hints of it throughout the album where he is actually dropping bars that will make you like think a little bit, right? You listen to the bar and then, you know, it just makes you think about what he's saying and kind of changes your perspective on life You know what I mean? Like, he actually does have lines like that all over the album, just different parts of the album. Yeah, it's not too much of a bad thing for that part. Chief Keef is one of those rappers that can kind of like go with his natural flow, and it works out. I guess those are the only things, the bad things about the album. The good things about the album, I think the beats are unbelievable. I think the beats are the highlight of the album. Almost every beat from the first track to the last track, I think there's 16 songs on this one. Every beat was just like, yo, it's the biggest reason why I was always a Chief Keef fan. Like, the main reason why I got hooked to his music was the production and the instrumentals. The producer that he mainly works with, I forgot his name, but I'm pretty sure I have him on my top 54 producers of all time list. The producer that he mainly works with, that guy's got to be a legend too, because when he started making beats like that with Chief Keef back in those days, a lot of other producers try to mimic the producer's style too. They try to mimic the beat style also. And even in today's rap game, you hear a lot of rappers trying to like mimic that style of beat. He's a legend for that one too. Like, I forgot the name of the producer. Like, forgive me, I don't have the notes in front of me. I feel like the beats, it was kind of an upgrade from like what he used to do. Besides I Hate Being Sober and Love Sosa, because those are probably my favorite Chief Keef songs. Besides those two beats, this album is like a 100% an upgrade from anything Chief Keef's done in his past. So the beats, yo, like, yeah, man, the beats is probably my favorite part about this album. Like, for the most part, lyrically, I do think he can do better lyrically, just because of what I've heard from him in the past. A little bit disappointed in terms of the lyrical side, but there are bars there. Like, there are parts in the album where you're listening to him rapping and he'll drop a bar and you're like, whoa. Like, there's a lot of songs where the lyrical side is like, it's pretty bad. There's some lines that don't make sense either, but then there's like, I'll say 50-50. I won't say most of the album, but like 50-50 bad lines, and then 50-50 he'll have lines where you're just like, bro, what? I think it was a pretty decent album, man. It didn't blow me away. It was a little bit worse than I thought it was gonna be, because like it's kind of like a return back from like not putting out the bangers that he used to put out. Everyone, I think, collectively expected it to be like the album of the summer. I mean, I was slightly disappointed. I'll say slightly disappointed. I thought it was gonna be a little bit better than I expected it to be. A little bit better. Definitely not his best work in my opinion. So in terms of ratings, I'll probably give it a 6.8 out of 10. It would have been a little bit higher if he tried a little bit with the pen game, gave us a little bit more in terms of bars, because the beats matched the energy. I feel like the producer went off on this one. Chief Keef, if he matched the energy with the producer, this one could have been a classic. This probably would have been his classic, his greatest like work he's put out so far. Maybe a summertime classic. The producer definitely carried Chief Keef on this one, bro. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I can't cap, man. I think the producer definitely carried Chief Keef on this one. 6.8 out of 10, man. Hip hop's kind of like heating up a bit, especially after that Kendrick and Drake battle. I feel like hip hop's in a situation where it's slowly starting to heat back up, get back to that top in terms of like the biggest genre in the world. Hopefully Chief Keef continues to come up with music, because I'm definitely down to hear. I am a fan of him. Pretty good listen, I'm not gonna lie. So Chief Keef, Almighty Soul. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. I really appreciate you guys watching, man. Got more episodes on the way, more content, more music. Check out Slay Station June 14th. It'll be out on all platforms, everywhere where I put my music, so get ready for that. Make sure you subscribe, like, share. I'm out of here, man.